it doesn't necessarily have to be the NBA. If it is, great. It doesn't necessarily have to be Division I. If it is, great. It doesn't necessarily have to be varsity basketball, but if it is, great.
Hoop loud.
There is money to be made outside of the NBA playing the game of basketball, whether that be you playing basketball or you find some other creative way to still use the game of basketball to make a career and not play it. Look at guys like B-Dot. Look at guys like Dre All Day Baldwin. Look at guys like Famous Los. Look at guys like Handle Life or Dribble Too Much. Look at guys like The Professor. All these guys are guys that were able to use basketball as a springboard to launch their careers in ways that were not even thought to be imaginable, right? The narrative has always been play Division I basketball, major Division I basketball, Division I basketball that you can see on TV, like a North Carolina or UConn or Duke, and then go to the NBA. If you don't do that, then that means you suck. That means you have nothing to offer to the table. That means that there's nothing for us to talk about. But you get a guy that's 4'11", under 100 pounds in an Oregon suburb, and he finds a way to use the game of basketball to make money. And he didn't go to the NBA, and he wasn't a head coach. He used his own creative way to make it work. So what I'm talking to you today about is changing the narrative. Don't allow that to be the reason why you can't still benefit from the game you love in basketball, or whether it's football, or whether it's tennis, or whether it's bowling, or whether it's tiddlywink. It doesn't make a difference. It may not look like the narrative has been told to you over the years, that you play in March Madness and they show you a clip on One Shining Moment and you get drafted #1 in the draft. If you don't get that, is there still something that you can bring away from it? And the answer to that question is absolutely. So I want to encourage you today to look at the game of basketball, not necessarily of NBA or Division I, but look at the game of basketball of I want to play a game that I enjoy, that I love, and I want to get better at. And if that ends up being Division I, great, jump on it. If that ends up being NBA, great, jump on it. But don't be limited to that. NBA, Division I, have to be head coach. Don't be limited to that. Know that it's a broader scope. I don't know if you've seen these guys recently, but B-Dot, he's an NBA impersonator. He's done so well that I've seen him on late night shows. He's done so well that he's earned a huge following. He's done a great job, but he's used basketball as a springboard for his career. Famous Los, I don't know if you've seen his videos, but his creativity, he goes into a bathroom, he commentates on different NBA, college, high school basketball games. He added his creativity to what he loved, basketball, and now he has a career doing that. What about Johnny from Handle Life? I actually know a guy that played basketball with him at an exposure camp. I think it was out in Cali. And one of the things that he said about him is this guy dribbles too much. Crazy enough, this guy actually started his own brand called Dribble Too Much and Handle Life, and he's doing phenomenal. 4'11" and under 100 pounds as a freshman in high school. No one in their right mind would have thought that this guy would make a living playing basketball. And here it is 2 decades later, 20 years later, and that's exactly what he's continuing to do. Or whether it be Dre Baldwin, Dre All Day, make sure you check out his YouTube channel. This guy has built a platform and used basketball as a springboard to have 14 books that he wrote, to have several TEDx speaking engagements, to have webinars, YouTube videos. This guy has done it all by using the game of basketball as a springboard. So again, don't let yourself be limited by I didn't make it to the NBA or I didn't make it to Division I. Listen, you may not have even made varsity in high school. That doesn't mean that you can't gain something from that and make it to your good still using the game of basketball. These are all ways that these guys have made their own brand, made their own career, and established their own narrative when everyone else was saying it wasn't possible, when everyone else was saying it was NBA or die, or it's Division I or die. So again, I want to tell you this and I'm going to let you go. Don't look at basketball as this one side, sharp contrast. If I make it to the NBA, I'm successful. If I don't, then I'm not successful. Change the narrative. This thing is much broader than what has been presented to you beforehand. It doesn't necessarily have to be the NBA. If it is, great. It doesn't necessarily have to be Division I. If it is, great. It doesn't necessarily have to be varsity basketball. But if it is, great. But without a doubt, change your narrative and you'll change your situation.
Loud E.